I am Flaudette May Datuin, Professor of Art Studies at the University of the Philippines. In this episode of Cultural Cash Online, I'll be talking about a 1976 piece by Anita Magsaysay-Ho in the Cultural Center of the Philippines' 21 AM collection entitled Three Women with Baskets. Anita Magsaysay-Ho is a pioneering artist in so many ways. As the only woman in the pre-war group of 13 moderns founded by Victorio Edades, she is a pioneering modernist. As an artist, she's one of those who took on the challenge of painting in egg tempera, a medium she studied at the Cranbrook Academy of Art in Michigan. Her deft handling of egg tempera, a medium more difficult and harder to control than oil, has been associated with the artist's name. Magsaysay-Ho dedicated her entire career to painting women, drawing inspiration from the farmhands, fishers, and laborers in Zambales, where she spent her childhood summer vacations. Her canvases are replete with sturdy peasant women, variously engaged in harvesting fruit, catching fish, interacting in the marketplace, among many other chores that involve the labor of human hands in agricultural lands. In the Three Women with Baskets, the women are similarly shown at work, but caught in a moment of transition from one movement to the next. It is a momentary pause of keeping still in anticipation of the next activity, probably that of raising the bilao or basket and tending to the business of separating the chaff from the grains of rice. With eyes downcast, refusing to meet the viewer's gaze, they inhabit a self-contained universe of carefully crafted women bonding in silent sisterhood, who are, and I quote from the late art historian Alice Guillermo, strong of limb and spirit, rendered in bold, decisive lines and simplification of forms such as the triangular kerchiefs and swiftly formed arms and legs, yet all with strong gestural quality despite their abbreviated renditions, unquote. The colors of the scene in Three Women with Baskets are predominantly pastel, as seen in the pleasant shades of green on the skirts and the background greenery. A calm pastoral setting, but one that is interrupted by the shock of fiery black in the middle. We learn from Alfredo Rosa's monograph, In Praise of Women, that the blackened trunks are made out of ink that the artist spilled on the blank canvas. As the artist describes it, if you throw the ink on the canvas and you throw water, then throw oil, and these all rush and run into each other, and you will be surprised to see how beautiful the image of rocks emerges. This technique of creating representational images from accidental configurations shares affinity with those of other artists throughout the history of art, among them the Dadaists and Surrealists like André Masson, who created drawings based on accidental patterns made by dropped pieces of string on the floor. Magsaysay-Ho's inspiration, on the other hand, was Chinese ink painting, to which a Jewish friend introduced her when she was in Canada from 1969 to 1976. The technique involved spilling Chinese ink on paper and letting the rivulets of ink suggest an image and the direction the painting will take. I caught from the artist from Ross's monograph. After it is done, you will be surprised to see the rocks by the sea or the logs in a forest. Of course, you must improve on the rocks, she says. After the initial fascination, however, she lost interest in the experiment because she was not thinking anymore, she says, and it was the spilled ink that was doing it, unquote. It was the ink dictating the painting and not the artist. This refusal to let chance take over the creative process completely is evident in an interview with the art critic Sid Reyes in 1986, where she revealed that while she sketches directly on the canvas with charcoal, she never depends on what she refers to as chamba or lock. At the outset, she has a clear idea of how a painting will look like when it's finished. At the same time, she allows a certain amount of chance in abstracting her figures by working around accidents, like the accidental loop of paint when it's splattered on a canvas, as she puts it. This tension between being in full control and allowing an element of chance to take over aspects of a work is seen in this 1976 piece, which is one of 25 in the ink blot series she produced in the 70s while she was looking for new directions in her art. The figures are composed in symmetrical formation, but not exactly. In the foreground, two figures, one posed frontally and the other sideways, frame the blackened trunks. That in turn frame the central figure, who is caught in a pensive contrapuntal pose. The trio's dresses are color coordinated, off-white for the tops and kerchiefs, light green for the skirts, which are repeated like variations on a musical theme in the background that spills over and bleeds out of the picture plane. The color scheme would have been monochromatic if not for the dark trunks that look like flames rising past the lush branches onto the sky beyond, with the tree's gnarled roots melding together in a massive, exuberant heap at the bottom. This frame within a frame composition makes me feel as though I am being drawn into or sucked in between the blackish, sooty flame of the trunks. This unease, which have been more intense had the scale been life-size, is evoked most probably because the ink blots look out of place in the bucolic setting. In his assessment of the ink blot series, Ross has similarly expressed discomfort at the disparity between the spontaneity of the ink blots on one hand and the carefully choreographed and studiously rendered women on the other. But I see this seeming incompatibility as but one instance of an other world, one that can be viewed from what the feminist writer Teresa de Lauretis refers to as an elsewhere, a quiet place of women going about their business, but also a space of tension and resistance where women, like the artist, are in full control, and I quote her, of their own movements and gestures, their expressions of happiness and frustrations, their diligence and shortcomings, their joy of living. I know well, for, after all, I am one of them. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Cultural Cash Online.